the place of the Joshua trees. Okay, then Sunday was upon us, and the first band I saw was Numb.er, whom I've seen in LA before a couple times, like at the Echo. They're very shoegazy, very dark wave, really right up my alley, a lot of fun to watch. And then caught some of Part-Time also. Yeah, I really like them. And they're more psych rock as well. So there was a lot of psych rock here, as you can tell. I did see also some of LSD and The Search for God. I hadn't heard of these people or this band, but the name was interesting enough to drive me in. And they ended up being very good to listen to, like kind of psychedelic, ambient, captivating. It was good. After that, I caught La Luz, whom I hadn't seen before, but my friend from high school is a bass player in that band, Lena. Hi, Lena. It's psych rock. It's surf rock mostly, I would say, because it's very like do-do-do-do-do, you know. But yeah, their singer is super talented. Everyone really brought their own in that band, like the guitarist and singer. The bass player was really good. The keyboard player, it was like one of the first sets where I could really hear the keyboard, and they had like a really integral role. They were fun to watch also. And then after that, caught Jenny Lee again at the Moon stage, whom I had seen before also. Jenny Lee is the bass player in Warpaint, the all-girl rock band. Warpaint is like, easily one of my favorite bands. Jenny Lee's sound is very similar to Warpaint, very like bass heavy. Jenny Lee, she's got just a really great energy up there. She laughs at herself. She was wanting to get the audience to move with her. She isn't holding any guitars or anything like that, so she's really free to just kind of be herself. A little bit awkward, but also very charming. She's got a really beautiful voice. What really brought a smile to everyone's face was when her dog came onto the stage, and she's like, "Oh, it's just my dog," like it was no big deal. And then she was just kind of singing to the dog for a little bit, like he just sat down in the middle of the stage. I'm freaking so that was really precious. And then like toward the end of the show, she was like on the floor and she did like a little back somersault and she was just kind of laughing at herself. Yeah, it was just nice to see that she like doesn't take herself too seriously, is able to just laugh about, silly things. That was really refreshing. After that, I caught some of Foxygen, who are just very, very much like theatrical. Some of their sounds seemed like show tunes, like they belonged on Broadway. Like I could tell that the singer, maybe he has like a background also in theater or something like that, but he's got this incredible voice. And they had this full brass section too. It did seem a little bit like, of a different decade and just very kind of innocent. They did start about like half an hour late. That was the only bummer about that. I don't know if it's something I would really listen to in my spare time, but it was certainly interesting to watch. Really talented musicians up there too. And then the final band that I saw on Sunday night was Survive. I really wanted to see them because, you know, I heard they did the soundtrack to Stranger Things, which I watched the whole season. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about the show was the music. It's very 80s influence, very dark. I head into the right tent. There's 4, like, you know, synthesizers up there, each with little flameless candles. It was very intriguing. They just kind of seemed to start out of nowhere. It was just very dark, washes of sound, lots of bass. I could feel it like in my chest. It was almost hard to stand there. A lot of like do 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 do, you know. Very much like straight out of a dark 80s movie, perfect for Stranger Things. They were super captivating. No vocals, just instrumental. And that was the way I closed the music portion of the festival. And after this, at the bazaar over in the camping area, there was a full moon ceremony. So I was able to see the full moon ceremony. I was able to join that and like set intentions. So that was kind of a cool way to just like, you know, wrap up the whole weekend. That was my experience like in detail from the whole festival. I'd say my favorite performance overall was from Toro y Moi. I mean, that was such an incredible show. I was able to feel the music, almost like participate in it, I guess. There were some other favorites: Beach Fossils, Cherry Glazer, Final Williams, Washed Out Deer Hunter. Yeah, other than that, I inhaled a lot of dust. Super dusty out here in Joshua Tree. It was like super hot during the day. Of course, it's the desert. And then pretty cold at night. I mean, the venue was really cool, the Institute of Mental Physics. I like that the stages were far enough apart so that you couldn't necessarily hear the other bands, and they did the timing pretty well. In terms of sound, I think it could have been better, for example, with Foxygen starting late because they couldn't get the mics working. I didn't really hear much synthesizer the whole time. In some cases, the vocals too were pretty subdued, like they could have been louder. And while I'm super appreciative of like the VIP, I don't know that I would have necessarily paid for it because like the viewing areas, I wouldn't say that they were preferred viewing. At least I didn't prefer the preferred viewing. The camping was cool. Yeah, it was basically the only time when I'd camped where I could see everyone's tents like all around me. Cool neighbors all around. Some of our neighbors were from upstate New York. They had flown in and then driven from LA. There was also someone we met who drove out from Idaho coming for the festival and then to stay in LA too. So people came from all over really for this. So that was really cool to see. We were able to make some friends. I had a good group of friends with me too. The bathroom situation wasn't ideal because it's like porta potties. I definitely recommend that you bring your own toilet paper, sanitizer. From what I was reading in articles, people were referring to this festival as like the anti-festival. And I think that's really because there were no major headliners. Like it's so the opposite of Coachella, which just tries to please everyone and also tries to please like the masses with a lot of EDM, big names. This festival had like a focus that was clearly like psych rock, talented artists, and it was really a festival for music lovers. And this festival has grown, I mean, ×3 basically. Last year it was just a one-day festival and it has grown to a 3-day festival. I think overall I'm really glad that I went. I would recommend that you keep it on your radar for next year too, because I'm sure it's only going to continue to expand as they iron out some of the kinks with the sound and things like that. I'm sure it'll continue to be like one of those like landmark festivals that music lovers from like all over the world come around to see. Thanks to all the bands who came out and played and braved the desert heat. I'm sure it was not easy at times to be up there with the dust blowing. Just thank you for putting on just amazing shows. You're the reason that I continue to come out to things like this and the reason why I started this blog in the first place. Thanks to everyone, to Phil, security, staff, and volunteers. They seem so happy to be there. Thank you for just taking your time to make it really smooth and seamless for everyone who was able to attend. It goes to show that's the kind of hospitality and friendliness that you get when you come to Desert Daze. Please feel free to subscribe to my blog at theindication.com. Let's continue this indication together.